Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews, and today we are catching up with Longlegs. Forgive me if I look a little bit tired today. I am. I went to go and see this at midnight last night, walking out of the cinema at 2:45 this morning. Don't worry, it wasn't forced upon me. I wanted to do it. I wanted the atmosphere and I wanted the cold, shrill feeling to go along with the horror movie that has been my most anticipated of the year. And Longlegs is directed by Osgood Perkins. Now you might recognise that name. There are a few films in his repertoire. He famously did the Hansel and Gretel a few years back, but he's probably better known as being the son of Anthony Perkins, Norman Bates from Psycho. And Longlegs tells the story of an FBI agent who is slowly uncovering a rather gruesome, mysterious and potentially satanic serial killer. So did my most anticipated movie of the year live up to the hype? Gladly, yes it did, and here's why. The cinematography is absolutely outstanding. Every single frame has been so deeply thought about, whether it be the colour schemes or the general vibe, the atmosphere, the setting, the tone, the time period. It's all so well recognised and brought to life so vividly and memorably. It's also edited really nicely. I thought they managed to create a real vibe and a real sense of dread just with the general presentation of this film. I thought they selected the music fantastically. It was really fitting and again played into that creepy atmosphere of the song being quite happy and feel good and very well known, and yet when you listen to those lyrics it can be misconstrued into something quite sinister and nasty. I really like the performances from the whole cast here. All round, Maika Monroe was great. I have seen a few people say she plays it a little bit boringly, but not for me. I think she nails her character perfectly. She is meant to be subdued, she is meant to be tormented, and I think she shows that really well. Nicolas Cage is having the time of his life, and he is giving you those Cageisms that you are going to be after. But he still managed to bring something new to it. He does definitely flex some acting chops here. He brings something really sinister and nasty to this role, and it is probably his scariest performance so far. It's unnerving and it will stay with you. His presence does manage to scar its way into your brain. And it's worth knowing that he is working with a lot of prosthetics as well, and yet he still manages to manipulate that makeup perfectly. I think he does a great job. I also found the story to be really gripping and intriguing. I was hanging on to this, waiting to see where it goes and what it does and what it got up its sleeve. I am a bit of a sucker for those classic FBI detective case movies, or even going on YouTube and looking into serial killer files and things like that. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I think my favourite thing about this movie is the sound design. It is so crisp. I almost came out of this movie saying that's probably the best sound design this year. It's only when I look back at my list and I realised that Sound of Interest came out this year that I realised, ooh, maybe Longlegs will have to settle for a silver medal on the sound design. But if it wasn't for Zone of Interest, yeah, Longlegs would absolutely get that first place. I love the sound design. I thought it was so clever, so well put together. Keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole way through. I was constantly checking the peripherals of every single shot. When it goes quiet, there's always going to be someone in the corner walking past. But even little things like floorboards creaking or doors opening, it was positioned so well within the audio that actually it sort of escaped the movie and became real. There was a moment where a door opened and I did genuinely look to my left because it sounded like there was a door over there that opened. Very clever, very well thought out, really good stuff. I personally can't say that I found the film to be scary. That might just be because I'm pretty hard in the paint when it comes to this stuff. But I can go as far as saying that it is definitely creepy. It's definitely unnerving. It is unsettling. There is a constant aura of dread and something horrible coming at all times throughout the watching process. But even coming out of the cinema at 2:45 in the morning, I did still manage to sleep pretty easily. Which is a bit of a shame, I suppose, but I am still satisfied with the bumps and scares it did give me. Now, I have been singing this film's praises and it was definitely my most anticipated of the year, but I did have a couple of problems with it. Of course I did, it's me. What else do you expect? You can't say I'm not fair. Even my most anticipated gets problems. But they are only far and few between, and there's nothing that I have to say negatively about this film that really brings it down to a crushing halt. It is just small details. A big one for me being the pacing. The film is split into part 1, part 2 and part 3. Part 1 and 3 feel like they absolutely flew by. I think there may be 30 minutes each, maximum. They might be less. And this is a 2.5 hour long movie, I think, which means that that middle portion is like a solid hour, maybe an hour and 10. And actually, by the time part 3 popped up on the screen, I completely forgot we were even doing it in parts. It just really messed with the flow of things. Either don't break it into parts, I don't really think it needed to be broken into parts, or, you know, have a fourth part, split it again, make it flow a bit better. I also think the movie sometimes undoes its own good work. They do a great job at the beginning of keeping Nicolas Cage hidden and obscured, and you're only getting a taste of what he is and who he is and what he's about. And that mystery makes the character so much more frightening. At least to me it did. And yet as the film goes on, they just sort of drop that and he just becomes fully in your vision. You get to have a good hard look at him and see what he's all about. And unfortunately, it did just take something away from it all. Suddenly it wasn't some completely mysterious psychopathic guy that looks really creepy, and suddenly it was just Nick Cage acting a fool in quite obvious prosthetics. And I know that sounds contradictory because it's Nick Cage and you should just let him be the firework that he is, but actually I personally way preferred just getting the hints and the tastes of what sort of psychopath this person was. Letting my imagination fill in the blanks was far more effective than me staring at it in the face. And I will tiptoe very carefully here. I'm not going to give away any spoilers of any kind or whatsoever, or even give any suggestions at all. I didn't hate the ending. I think it's fine. I can totally roll with it. But I can see other people finding it rather underwhelming. It doesn't exactly pull the rug out from under your feet. I think the film thinks it does. It doesn't really. Nothing really came to me as a giant shock by the end. And equally, where this film is very clearly inspired by others such as Seven, I do think the film sometimes is a little bit lacking on the investigation front. I would have liked to have seen people roll up their sleeves and get a little bit dirtier with it. A lot of it is hop, skip, jump to a conclusion, having to tread carefully here. But at the end of the day, I still had a great time with Longlegs. It really did scratch that itch that I've had wanting a really good horror to come out this year. It was unsettling, it was unnerving, it was atmospheric, it was enjoyable, it was memorable, and I would gladly watch it again and I would gladly add it to my collection. And I'm going to give Longlegs a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do hit the comment section as well. Have you seen Longlegs? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if you haven't had enough of this crazy ginger, well, you can always click on these suggested videos right here and get yourself lost in an IMO wormhole. But if not, take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.